Case 1, the impossible scale challenge.
Golf is hard because of one fundamental problem. The scale is completely stacked against you. You're hitting a 1.68-inch ball toward a 4.25-inch hole from hundreds of yards away. This isn't just difficult, it's mathematically brutal. Here's the setup that makes golf uniquely challenging. Unlike every other major sport, golf gives you the smallest target at the greatest distance. A basketball rim is 18 inches wide, more than 4 times larger than a golf hole. A soccer goal spans 24 feet. Tennis players aim for a court that's 78 feet long and 36 feet wide. Golf hands you a target smaller than your fist and says, hit it from 400 yards away. The context becomes clear when you understand what accuracy actually means in golf. Professional golfers, the best players in the world, hit fairways only 55 to 70% of the time, depending on course conditions. These are athletes who've spent decades perfecting their swings, yet they still miss a target that's 30 to 40 yards wide nearly 1/3 of the time. Here's a specific example that shows why this matters. On a 150-yard approach shot, being off by just 1 degree in your aim sends the ball about 4 feet offline. Miss by 2 degrees, and you're looking at an 8-foot error. From the tee on a 400-yard hole, this scale problem impacts every single shot you take. The hole never gets bigger, the distances never get shorter, and your margin for error remains microscopic throughout the entire round. Case 2. The physics nightmare. The physics of golf creates an inherently unstable collision that's nearly impossible to control consistently. You're hitting a round ball with a round club face, what golf instructor Cameron McCormick calls the triple imperfect collision. This fundamental design creates chaos every time you swing. Here's what's happening during impact. The club face contacts the ball for exactly 0.0005 seconds. That's half a millisecond. In that microscopic time frame, the club face must be perfectly square, moving at the right speed and striking the ball at the precise contact point. Any deviation gets magnified exponentially as the ball travels toward the target. The context reveals why this matters so much. Your golf swing involves coordinating dozens of major muscles in a specific sequence: hips, torso, shoulders, arms, hands, all firing in perfect order within 2 seconds. Break this kinetic chain at any point, and the club face arrives at impact in the wrong position. Unlike a tennis racket with strings that provide forgiveness, or a baseball bat with a large barrel, the golf club face offers no margin for error. Here's the specific example that proves this point. A club face that's just 2 degrees open or closed at impact on a driver sends the ball 20 to 25 yards offline. 2 degrees. Imagine the minute hand on a clock moving less than half a second. It's a change so small you can barely see it. But on a golf shot, it's the difference between the fairway and the forest. This physics problem impacts every club in your bag. The longer the club, the faster it moves. If you're loving this video, subscribe now and help us hit 5,000 golf fans by month's end. Case 3. Environmental chaos. Unlike other sports, golf's playing field constantly changes, making consistent performance impossible. Every single shot presents a different challenge. Uphill lies, downhill slopes, side hill stances, thick, rough, wet sand, hard pan, or soft turf. You never get the same shot twice. Here's the setup that creates this chaos. While basketball players shoot from the same court surface and tennis players hit from consistent baselines, golfers must adapt to hundreds of different lies and conditions during a single round. Each lie requires different swing adjustments, club selections, and ball positions. Your body must constantly recalibrate for slopes, stances, and surface conditions. The context shows how dramatically environment affects ball flight. Wind is the biggest factor. A 10-mile-per-hour crosswind moves your ball 10 to 15 yards offline. A 15-mile-per-hour headwind can reduce your driving distance by 20 to 30 yards, turning a comfortable 7-iron into a difficult 5-iron approach. Temperature matters too. Cold air is denser, reducing your driving distance by 2 to 3 yards per 10-degree drop. Humidity affects ball flight, rain changes grip and trajectory, and altitude can add 10% more distance. Here's a specific example from the PGA Tour footage. A perfectly struck shot hits a sprinkler head and bounces 40 yards offline into a penalty area. Same swing, same contact, but an uncontrollable environmental factor turns a great shot into disaster. This happens constantly. Balls plug in soft ground, bounce hard off cart paths, or get knocked down by tree branches. This environmental unpredictability impacts every round you play. You can't control the conditions, but golf demands you perform consistently regardless of what the course throws at you. Case 4. The mental battlefield. Golf gives you too much time to think between shots, turning your mind into your biggest enemy. Unlike reactive sports where instinct takes over, golf provides 3 to 5 minutes between swings. Plenty of time for doubt, fear, and overthinking to destroy your confidence. Here's the mental setup that makes golf uniquely challenging. You're alone out there for 4 to 5 hours with only your thoughts for company. There are no teammates to rely on, no coaches calling plays, and no crowd noise to drown out your inner critic. Every mistake is yours alone, and you have several minutes to replay it before your next shot. The context comes from golf instructor Cameron McCormick, who emphasizes the need for mistake tolerance and what he calls goldfish memory, referencing Ted Lasso's advice about having short-term memory. The ability to forget bad shots instantly is crucial because dwelling on mistakes creates a spiral of poor play that can destroy entire rounds. Here's a specific example of how this mental burden works. You hit one bad shot, maybe a drive into the trees. Now you're standing over a difficult recovery shot with 3 to 5 minutes to think about what went wrong, worry about making it worse, and calculate how this mistake affects your score. That mental pressure often leads to another bad shot, then another, creating what golfers call the snowball effect. This mental challenge impacts every level of player. Even tour professionals struggle with confidence spirals, as we saw in the PGA Tour compilation, where single bad shots led to multiple stroke disasters. The proof that golf's difficulty is universal comes from watching the world's best players fail spectacularly. Case 5. The professional reality check. Even the world's best players fail spectacularly, proving that golf's difficulty isn't just in your head. The PGA Tour footage shows Tiger Woods hitting a shank, Scottie Scheffler chunking shots into penalty areas, and tour professionals 5-putting from close range. If they can't master golf, what hope do the rest of us have? Here's the setup that validates every amateur's struggle. These are athletes who've dedicated their entire lives to golf, practice 6 to 8 hours daily, have access to the best coaches and technology, and play on perfectly manicured courses. Yet they still hit shots that would embarrass a weekend golfer. The context reveals just how challenging golf really is. Professional golfers hit fairways only 55 to 70% of the time on average, depending on course conditions. They miss greens in regulation 30 to 40% of the time. Even their putting, the most controlled aspect of golf, fails them regularly. According to PGA Tour Strokes Gained statistics pioneered by Professor Mark Brody, tour pros make only about 50% of putts from 8 feet. Here's a specific example that proves the point. In the PGA Tour compilation, we see Scottie Scheffler, the world's #1 player, hit a bunker shot that doesn't advance the ball 30 yards. Tiger Woods, arguably the greatest golfer ever, shanks an 8-iron on the 18th hole. Joseph Bramlett 5 putts for a triple bogey. These aren't once-in-a-career disasters. They happen regularly to the best players alive. This professional reality impacts how you should view your own game. If Tiger Woods can shank it and Scottie Scheffler can chunk it, your bad shots aren't personal failures. They're proof you're playing the same impossible game as the pros. Case 6. The beautiful impossibility. Golf's beautiful impossibility keeps us coming back because no one has ever truly mastered this game. The greatest players in history, from Bobby Jones to Tiger Woods, all struggled with golf's fundamental challenges. This isn't a game you conquer, it's a lifelong puzzle you learn to manage. Here's the setup that makes golf eternally challenging. Unlike other sports where athletes can achieve near perfection in controlled environments, golf presents infinite variables that prevent mastery. Every day brings new conditions, and every shot requires fresh problem solving. The game constantly evolves, ensuring that even champions remain students. The context shows why this impossibility is actually golf's greatest feature. The pursuit of improvement becomes addictive because there's always something to work on. Lower your handicap from 20 to 15, and suddenly you're chasing single digits. Break 80 for the first time, and 75 becomes the new target. This endless progression keeps golfers engaged for decades, creating a community united by shared struggle and incremental progress. Here's a specific example of golf's beautiful challenge. Ben Hogan, considered one of the most precise ball strikers ever, said he hit maybe 3 perfect shots per round. Jack Nicklaus, winner of 18 major championships, called golf a game of misses, where success comes from managing your bad shots. better than your opponents manage theirs. This impossibility impacts why we love golf despite its frustrations. The game humbles everyone equally, CEOs and beginners, tour pros and weekend warriors. We're all chasing the same elusive perfection, creating bonds through our shared struggles and celebrating small victories together. If you are loving this video, don't forget to click the super thanks button and help us to create more video like this one. Case 7. Microscopic margins. Golf demands precision that human bodies struggle to repeat because the margin for error is measured in fractions of inches and degrees. Your swing must coordinate dozens of muscles in perfect sequence, and even the smallest deviation gets amplified into massive misses that can ruin your entire round. Here's the setup that makes consistency nearly impossible. A golf swing happens in less than 2 seconds, requiring your hips, torso, shoulders, arms, and hands to fire in exact order with precise timing. Break this kinetic chain at any point, and the club face arrives at impact in the wrong position. Unlike other sports where you can adjust mid-motion, golf gives you no second chances once the swing begins. The context reveals just how microscopic these margins really are. Professional golfers spend decades perfecting their swings with world-class coaches, yet they still struggle with consistency. The difference between a tour pro and a weekend golfer isn't that pros never make mistakes, it's that their mistakes are smaller and less frequent. Here's the specific example that proves this point. A club face that's just 2 degrees open or closed at impact sends your ball 20 to 25 yards offline with a driver. Similarly, hitting the ball half an inch behind the sweet spot can turn a crisp 150-yard shot into a chunked 80-yard disaster that doesn't even reach the green. These margins are so small that factors like wearing a slightly tighter shirt or having breakfast versus skipping it can affect your swing enough to cause these errors. This precision demand impacts every swing you make. Your body must repeat the same complex motion within these microscopic tolerances, shot after shot, for 4 hours straight. When you understand these margins, you realize why even the best players in the world struggle with this beautiful, impossible game. Remember, every golfer faces these same 7 challenges, and that's what makes our golf community so special. You're not alone in this struggle. You're part of a worldwide family, united by golf's beautiful impossibility. Keep playing, keep improving, and embrace the journey. You can watch our next video here. Thanks for watching.